Paul, I'm sure you thought you...
Who's got the first question?
Well done, sir. I'm sure you thought you were done with these, but obviously we appreciate you coming back here. But, I mean, you know, you've been talking about this for a long time, but now it's out there in the public, right? You made it. It's official. You said it. What's the feeling like right now? Is it like a load off, or does it feel weird? What's the emotion?
Yeah, I think there's that monkey's off my back a little bit. I really waited until I knew. Like, I knew. You know, after the Hooker fight, it was kind of emotional, and I lost the fight. I'm far away from home. It was a struggle. But then I did find that fire again when I got the RDA fight, and I went back into camps. I was helping Sean Brady get ready for fights, and I was hitting pads, I was lifting again, I was doing all those things, and then just slowly over time, I just started drifting back towards doing my own thing and really just loving doing this triathlon stuff on my own, having time of seeing my daughter every day after school, dropping her off at school, training in my own, my own little pain cave at home in the garage and getting stuff done. I don't think I'm going to get to the belt. I think this is the first time where I finally really think, like, after those 2 losses in a row, watching guys like Jacare break their arm, watching guys like Cowboy fight 5 more fights past when I think they should, and I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy. I've said from the very beginning of this sport, I won't be that guy that fights past his expiration date, and I think it's here. And I think maybe it's a touch early, but I'd rather be a touch early than a touch late.
I was going to ask, how hard is that decision, right? Because that's the kind of the bad part about this gig, right, is when you walk away is when you're making the most money, right? Yeah. I mean, you're making more money now per fight, and I'm sure
I got a new contract I haven't even gotten the fight on yet. So that just shows you that this isn't an easy decision, and it's not one where it's not like I wasn't getting the things I want. That's when you know it's time. If a brand new contract just handed to me by the UFC without even negotiating, after that RDA fight, they took my contract, which still had 3 more fights on it, and they threw it out and they said, here's your new one. And it was a good one. It's the one I've always wanted, or at least close to it. You know, obviously, if I keep winning fights, it'll get better. But who am I going to fight? Who am I going to fight right now? There's plenty of guys below me that are amazing. Islam Makhachev, Diego Fajeda, Gregor Gillespie. Yeah, they can probably beat me. I can probably beat them. I'm not excited about it. Tony Ferguson, 3-fight losing streak. Not excited about that. Don't want to do that. I don't want to do, a week in the hospital, breaking my orbital, breaking my face, puncturing a lung, more scars and cuts than I can even count. I don't want that anymore.
Do you know when the moment was that you actually decided, yes, that's it? Because, you mentioned some things that you've witnessed, but, you still have to make a final decision. When was it?
My mom brought up a good point. She said when I was younger as in, throughout most of my career, if I couldn't get to the gym, an MMA gym, to either hit pads, grapple, spar, do something, I would lose my freaking mind. And I have not been in an MMA gym in probably 3 months. And then before that, it might have been 1 pad session where I did 5 rounds, and then it was like, I don't feel like doing this. So yeah, that spark that I need to fight, especially the way I fight, it just wasn't there anymore. And I was like, wow, you're right. If I'm not itching to even get to training and do this stuff, and I'm getting fight offers, and I'm just not. And the only reason it took this long is because I really gave everybody a chance to kind of convince me, and the UFC was really patient with me and really good with me. Sean Shelby called me several times, had a conversation with me to see where my head was at. And we had this conversation twice now recently, and then the second one I finally called him back the other day, and I was like, I'm retiring on Saturday. I'm done. Yeah. And I'm sure I'll be upset, and watching the highlights and stuff like that was getting me emotional. And I just can't believe it's been October of 2014. I can still remember that week in Canada, Halifax, Canada, like it was yesterday. And, Danny Castillo knockout. And yeah, it's been good. But I said, if I'm not going to be the champion, if I'm not going to fight for that belt, then it's time to hang it up. And I don't see myself beating all these guys ahead of me.
Well, I was going to say, so that's the interesting part, right? It sounds like you're really comfortable with the decision, but Charles Oliveira wins the title. Yeah. Is there any part of you that like the blood started flowing inside of you? Like, wait a minute.
It didn't. And if you're the last guy to knock out the current champion and you're not, because it's not the same guy. He's a beast now. I'm not saying I couldn't potentially beat him. I still think to this day that there's not a guy on the roster that on any given day, I couldn't beat. But I just don't think I'm going to get the fights and then string together the wins that are going to get me the momentum to get to that fight when you've got the Poirier and the McGregor fight coming up. You've got Charles with the belt, and Chandler's still in the mix. Hooker doesn't have a fight right now. Makhachev is surging right now. I'm not going to beat all these guys, and one setback is just like, all right, that's it. I'm not going to get there. So I'll just hold on to that knockout of Charles Oliveira and get the hell out of here and be like, all right, yep, you're never getting that one back, buddy. I knocked your ass out, but now you're the champion and you look great doing it. And your teeth, they're fantastic. Where do I go to get them done?
Last thing for me, I guess. So with this done, when's the first triathlon?
It's June 6th. I'm peaking right now. I'm walking around at about 170 pounds. You know, after certain runs, I was 168 pounds. And my suits they don't fit me right now. June 6th, half Ironman distance. I did 12 miles this morning before the show at a 7:38 per mile pace for almost 12 miles. I mean, that's not where I want it to be. I want to get to the point where I'm competitive enough in that sport that I can win as an age grouper in my age group, which I would say is probably one of the more competitive age groups from 35 to 40. You don't really get into your stride in endurance sports until you're a little bit older. You know, it's kind of boring. It takes older guys to kind of enjoy this shit.
Paul, there's something about the short notice of the RDA fight that kind of excited you. So why not just stay sort of semi-retired and wait for those opportunities to come up? Why would you make this decision to actually walk away?
I don't want to get hit in the head anymore. I don't have any major health concerns right now that I'm worried about, but you know, I've been in some battles, and I've been in more battles than I've been in the octagon inside the room. You know, I used to spar really hard, and I've sparred really top-level guys for years and years and years, and I'm creeping up closer to 40 every day, and I want to be able to do sports and do other things and do activities with my daughter and play with my dog and do stuff like that. I don't want to be laid up and getting huge in between fights. And you guys see me some of these, I almost had like an eating disorder from the amount of weight that I used to cut, because as soon as I was let off the leash to be able to eat, I would go eat 6 bags of candy, 2 boxes of donuts, sitting on the couch with injuries. So now I'm swelling up just eating and drinking, and I'm enjoying the lifestyle that I have now and staying fit, being lean, and competing in a different way that's just easier for me to do right now, and watch all these amazing fighters like Rob Font get to kind of tackle their dream now, you know, and allowing space for these new and up-and-coming lightweights to kind of take over, because I feel like everybody's like, why don't you just wait around? And I'm like, well, there's still going to be a number next to my name, which means people are going to be berating me constantly. And I was getting so sick of being called a coward, being called afraid, ducking people, which everyone in this room knows goddamn well is not an ounce of truth in that. Did I turn down fights? Yeah, because I don't want to fight anymore, and I couldn't say that because I hadn't officially announced my retirement. So I got all these guys trying to fight me, and all these fans turning on me and telling me how much of a coward I am, when really in my mind it's because I know I'm not going to compete anymore. So that's why it was finally time to be like, all right, I got to clear the air. I got to let everyone know that this is how I feel. And yeah, it hasn't sunk in yet. I'm sure it will.
You know, it's always said like MMA retirements, they never really stay retired and stuff. But I think, are you planning on removing yourself from the USADA pool? Because that's always a good indication that it's over.
Yeah, I got to find out how that happens. I think I have to formally write a letter or
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I will, because I'm sick of them showing up at my house at 6 a.m. too, because they just recently showed up like 3 times. Twice it's been a Friday night. A Friday night. I'm like, you're lucky I'm not half in the bag right now. I mean, you get a urine sample, it's not going to have much of any properties in it other than strong Belgian beers. I can tell you that.
Last question from me. How would you like Paul Felder, the fighter, to be remembered?
As somebody that stayed true to themselves throughout their career and left no stone unturned and tried to be and fought to be the champion my whole career. I never fought for anything else other than to try to be the best. I didn't shy away from any fights, and that's why this was driving me nuts, that people were starting to say that's who I am and that I'm dodging people and I'm doing all that kind of stuff, because I'm not that guy. And somebody that brought it every single time, no matter who they were in there with, and had no quit. Somebody that had zero quit. That's how I'd like to be remembered. Zero quit in them. There's a lot of people that would have quit in so many of the fights that I was in with some of the injuries that I was dealing with. And not only did I not quit in some of those fights, but I won some of those fights. I mean, I won with a punctured lung. I damn near won with a broken tibia, or ulna bone. I had a fracture in my right eye, 2 fractures in my right eye against Dan Hooker in the first round, first couple minutes of the fight. So, yeah. Yeah. Peace out, guys. What's that? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, CFFC? Yeah. I was talking to Rob about showing up, so maybe I'll see you there. All right. I got to focus on the race, though, so I got to keep the beers, light beers, like Michelob Ultra. All right. I mean, Modelo.